Welcome back to SleeplessRonin Plays, and today we're doing yet another ranking list for a technical readout. This time we're doing technical readout 3060. I got my old copy of the 1998 printing of the FASA one, and that should be working out of. So anything that's been corrected in the later editions I don't have access to. I just have this old nice 1998 copy of the original FASA printing. One thing we're going to talk about this book is, and I really do hate to rag on the art at times, but this book is full of some really funny artwork, in my opinion. You'll see. We'll get to some mechs that are just going to go, what? Also, this may be some of the ugliest designs in all of Battletech history. They are blocky and boring, or just goofy and strange. I mean, yeah, there are very few of these actual images that I like. I mean, I might like some of the loadouts of these mechs, but the actual images themselves, oh boy, wow, not a fan usually. I can only hope that through the course of multiple Catalyst Kickstarters, that these mechs get redone in a fashion that does not make me go, ugh. Anyways, let's begin at the beginning, which is to take a look at the 5 categories we're ranking the mechs in today. As per usual, we have the S category, or superior. These are mechs that are the cream of the crop. Next we have awesome. These are mechs that are definitely above average in performance. They're pretty darn cool, and they either excel at a battlefield role or they're good at a lot of roles. Basic. These are mechs that are just, they're basic. They do the job, they get it done, but there's nothing super special about them. Crap. These are mechs that have a serious failing in some aspect, or they're worse than a design that fills the same role. Then there's the worst category, the dreadful category. These are the mechs you kind of go, why do they even exist? They fail in multiple areas, and they just boggle the mind on how bad they are. So let's get started. We covered the 5 categories, and our first mech up today is the CSK-1 Cossack. It's a 20-ton Inner Sphere Mech, very low battle value. Little thing moves a 696, so we're looking at the original Stinger profile, but it is under-armored. It only has a scant 48 points of armor on this thing. That means most locations barely have more protection than they have internals. This thing gets hit by about any weapon in the game, including a medium laser, basic medium laser, and there's a potential that it's going to go down. I mean, not dead, but could have critical hit results or any other manner of problems. 2 medium lasers in the same location, and you can wipe that location off your mech. It's gone. Pretty much any location, except for one of the torsos, is dead with 2 shots. That's not good. The thing with this thing is the offensive capabilities of this mech are not heinous. It's an SRM-6 paired with a medium laser and 2 small lasers. That's not terrible. That's actually got a pretty good damage output, and heat-wise, it can walk and still fire all those weapons, which is not something it wants to do because it doesn't move super fast either. It's only a 696. So it needs to be going faster than that. But the other thankfully, most of the time, you'll not be engaging in the small lasers because you're still not the fastest mech in the world, and small lasers only have a 3 hex range. So medium and an SRM-6 means you can run and pretty much you fight with those all day long. Unless, of course, you're jumping, then you can't. Because it only has 10 single heat sinks. And at least, image-wise, this one, while blocky and boring, is not terrible. But I'm fairly certain this, to me, feels like a pretty basic mech. It's getting the job done, but it's fragile as all heck. And that's a problem, but other things I think balance it out. I mean, it's definitely going to be able to go toe-to-toe with something of equal weight class like a Stinger or a Wasp, because its offensive capabilities are better, even though its defensive capabilities are worse. Kind of a trade-off on this one. Next up, we have the KBO-7A Kabuto. Its name means helmet, and it has a helmet. This drawing drives me nuts, though, for another reason. It has way too many points of articulation on the legs. I don't understand what all those joints are for, other than to make the thing look like it walks like I don't know, something very stupid walking. It's... The legs on this thing are just bizarre, to be nice. Benefit of this thing is it's another 20-tonner, but it moves 7'11". It can't jump. That is a small downside. But since it can't jump, it's going to be heat efficient because it's got 2 Streak SRM4s and it can run with 10 singles. It's just fine. Now, the nice thing is those Streak SRM4s are actually a good weapon. They either fire when they lock, giving you 8 points of damage, sweet, or they don't lock and you save that ton of ammo and that heat. I mean, you're not worried about heat with this thing at all anyways, but you don't fire that load of ammo. So your 1 ton of ammo, your 25 launches, will last you more than probably the 12 rounds of I typically think a game goes. So this mech is actually pretty solid. Also, it is pretty muchly maximal armor. I mean, not pretty muchly, this thing is maximal armor, which means it's more heavily armored than even a Stinger. Because for one thing, it has the full 9 points in the head, something you don't see on every 20-tonner out there. I think, and I mean, compare this to the last mech, this is awesome in some ways. I mean, for a 20-ton scout mech, essentially, it's got speed at 7'11", got good weapon loadout, good armor. I think it checks the boxes. It's a good mech. It's an awesome mech in many ways. Definitely one I'd be willing to take at 20 tons. Next up, the D9 G9 Duan Gung. Okay, I don't know if I pronounced that right at all. I'm sorry if I didn't, because yeah, I'm really not certain I pronounced that correct. Okay, this mech weighs 25 tons and moves 7'11", 6. Weird jumping value. I honestly think the odd jumping values are just in generally better. The even ones are weird and not really super helpful. It is a light mech with 10 double heat sinks though, which is pretty solid. It weighs 25 tons but only has the armor of a 20-tonner, equivalent to a Stinger essentially, so it's a little bit under armored. It does, however, carry an LRM-10 and 2 medium lasers. The LRM-10 only has 1 load of ammo, or 1 ton of ammo, so it can fire it only 12 times, which is pretty effective for the battle round. It's rather fast, which is interesting for this mech, and it's not bad. I mean, it's got some good range profile because the LRM-10. I'll tell you this much, if I compare this thing to a Valkyrie, and Valkyries weigh more, this is better than a Valkyrie, because it has 2 close-range weapons and an LRM launcher, not 1 close-range weapon and an LRM launcher. It is more advanced tech than the average Valkyrie. It's going to be out there, your QAs and whatever, so this one's going to be a better mech than that. I still think, though, that sadly, in some ways, I can't rank this thing as awesome just because of the under-armored value. It's a bit fragile. Not as fragile as the Cossack, but still fragile. So it's going to be a basic mech. Next up, the EGL-2M Eagle. It's a 25-tonner that has an embarrassingly low speed of 5.85. I just don't like that movement profile on this thing. Thankfully, it has 10 double heat sinks and a significant amount of armor at 5 tons for a 25-tonner, putting it to almost maximum. I mean, it's really kind of close, but it's not quite there. You can use another half ton to go to max. So, what does this thing carry for weapons? It carries an ER large laser, an ER medium laser, and a tag. So it's heat efficient. 12 plus 5, 17. If you jump, you generate 2 points of heat excess, which is acceptable. And you're going to need to jump with this thing if you want to be able to be defensive at all. A 25-tonner that doesn't have a good movement profile always feels like a victim on the battlefield. And considering this thing moves slower than a Stinger or a Wasp or a Cossack, it really seems like it's going to die. I mean, and its weaponry is all direct fire weapons. You need the tag to be able to reach out and spot for something's arrow 4. The ER large and the ER medium are competent lasers. I'm not a huge fan of it, and I'm having trouble rating it anything other than basic. I don't want to say it's crap, because it is kind of heat efficient. It's got good enough armor. It's just that speed of 5.85 on a 25-tonner is a bit rough. But thankfully you can play it as a sniper mech, since that ER large can reach out a good amount of distance. Not clan ER large ranges, dear God, no, but it can reach out to a pretty good distance and actually harass some people with that shot. So it's not bad. It's not a great mech, but it's definitely not crap either. So again, the Eagle is basic. I have a feeling that in many ways that's kind of the theme of the 3060 book. There's a lot of mechs in this book that feel kind of like, yay, they exist. They don't suck, they're just not amazing either. Some will suck, don't worry. And some will be pretty awesome. But in the most part, I think I'm feeling this book is a lot of middle ground mechs. Which are honestly pretty good, because middle ground mechs should honestly be the bulk of most of your forces. They're kind of a mech you're going to see a lot of. Next up, we have the AF-1 Arctic Fox. This is a Kellhounds, Phelan's Wolves combo IS Omni that has a very, very unfortunate picture. I'll let you look at it, and please note the penis cannon. Why? I don't know. You could put that up on his shoulder. Someplace else where the hideous, grinning, whatever the hell that is, isn't rigid and upfront. And guess what? You're never going to not see that now. I'm sorry. Anyways, let's get to looking at this mech's design overall. It's a little 30-tonner. It moves at 690 with 10 doubles. Okay, that's acceptable. It's got 6 tons of armor, 96 points. It's close to, but again, falls just a little bit shy of maximal armor. So, that's not bad. It has 14 tons of pod space, which means for an Omni, it's got nearly half its weight going to weaponry and equipment, which is pretty good. And the weapon loadouts are sort of interesting. The primary loadout has 2 medium lasers, 2 SRM-4s, and an ERPPC. Essentially, you're firing the ERPPC or the other weapons. Again, you're not really combining those two sets of guns because you're only got 10 doubles. It's not a bad loadout, because it can snipe at range, and then it can engage with better close-in fighting combat stuff. Next up is Alt Config A, which contains a lot of pulse lasers of mediums and smalls. So this is the Brawler variant. This one can also jump. Very important, because you're a Brawler, you want to be able to get in there close and get there fighting up close. Because of the jump jets, though, it's a little bit heat inefficient, but not terrible. So, again, not a bad variant, but you have to be really engaging with this mech within 6 or closer hexes, which is potentially an issue for it. Remember, Inner Sphere medium pulses and small pulses kind of tend to suck. Let's look at Alt Config B now. Alt Config B contains an LB-10X with, thankfully, 2 tons of ammo, so it can go clustering solid, and a single medium laser. I don't really like that variant very much at all. Next variant, Variant C, or Alt Config C, is an ERPPC and a large pulse laser. No. 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 2 large pulses, I'll take. ERPPC and some other equipment and maybe some double heat sinks, I'll take. As it is, it can fire one or the other and not generate heat. Fire them both and generate some heat and then turn off one next turn. It's... ugh. And the problem is, the guns don't pair up too well. I mean, the ERPPC can fire all the ranges the large pulse can, but the large pulse can fire less than half the hexes the ERPPC can. So it's an odd combination. They don't mix well, in my opinion. I don't like that combo. It's fine when you have a pair of like one of them and a pair of the other ones, so you can switch between them, but having them individually, blah, I don't like that. Alt Config D has 2 LRM-10s with Artemis 4. Sure, run it as a small mini Archer, mini Apollo kind of thing, hanging out to go throw some LRMs downfield. That's fine. That's an okay variant. Honestly, the first 2 variants are the better ones, the Prime and the A, in my opinion. The other ones are lacking in something. It's nice that it's an Omni, though, so it's pretty cool. because it can then carry Inner Sphere battle armor and stuff like that, giving it a bit more protection. I have a hard time ranking this mech because A, it's really ugly. That is an ugly picture. That's an unfortunate picture, and only 40% of the loadouts in the book are good, in my opinion. Two are good, one is okay, and two are bad. So I'm gonna rate this as pretty much as a basic mech. It's really close to being better than that, but it's just kind of lacking. It's so close, so close. Next up, we have the GRM-01A Garm. I like to compare this thing to a Hollander, and this is a piece of crap compared to a Hollander. And the Hollander is not a brilliant mech in many ways because it carries one big gun, limited mobility, and that's it. This thing, though, is worse than a Hollander. It has a 5.85, so it can jump, which the Hollander can't do, but it's still the same speed profile of 5.8 otherwise. It's got 10 single heat sinks. It has 3.5 tons of ferrofibrous armor on a 35-ton mech. This thing has less armor on the legs than internals. This thing has less front center armor than it does internals. Actually, when you add the front and back armor of the center torso together, it only has a point more than internals. A small laser pierces this thing's rear armor in all locations. And what does it have for weapons? It's 100% ammo dependent, exactly like the Hollander again. But it carries an LB5X AC with 1 ton of ammo, so pick at the beginning of the game if you're firing solid or cluster, and an LRM-10 with 1 ton of ammo. No modifications on them, just a plain LRM-10. Essentially, this is a worse Hollander, because you have to, worse in most ways because it can do less damage. The Hollander hits, it does a lot of damage, and it's scary. This thing can maybe hit with one of its guns and tickle you from a distance. I really don't like this mech. I think that this is just bad. I ranked the original Hollander as banal or basic. This has got to be a crap mech because, in my opinion, it is a worse Hollander. It's just gah. Also, the differing arm designs just drive me nuts. That one arm's like on a giant ball and socket joint. The other one's on a rotating joint, and it. No, it's a bad mech. I don't like it at all. It's not really a bad mech. It's just not. It's crap. It's crap. I'm sorry. I don't like it. I don't like it. Next up, we have the INI-02 Initiate. This is our first medium mech. This is a Wabi mech. Unfortunately, this one in the variant right here is not like one of the awesome Initiates that it's good enough. No, honestly, I like this mech. I'm not a huge fan of the design artwork because I have no idea what's going on with the left arm. That it looks like there's all this weird technology stuff behind the laser cannons. That's just weird. Nor do I understand why the right arm's small lasers have a diameter of like a freaking basketball or more. It's just bigger than a basketball. It's like a meter wide aperture for a small laser. That makes that's so weird. So weird. And the AMS system looks like a Gatling gun. Again, I really hate to go off on the artwork. I really hate to go off on the artwork because someone took the time to draw these things. But it's just weird. Also, the art kind of gives up in the around the hips. The lines just don't go anywhere. They just sort of stop and become blank, and it's just, anyways, back away from the art. This is a 40-tonner that only moves 460. That's an issue. It has 11 double heat sinks, so that's pretty good. Thankfully, this thing has a lot of armor. It's, again, nearly maximum armor. I think it's under maximum by a whopping point. So, that's really good. It's got protection, which it needs because it's not going to get a lot of movement modifiers. Its weapon loadout is also kind of interesting. It's got 3 medium lasers, 3 ER small lasers, an LRM-15 rack, an AMS, and an SRM-6. For the most part, if you're firing all your close-range weaponry together, you're heat efficient. If you're firing the LRM-15 alone, you're acceptable for heat. So it's not bad. The LRM-15 is kind of like just a harasser weapon. The other weapons are for the close-range combat. It doesn't close super fast because of the 4.6 profile. It's interesting. I kind of like it, I mean, in general. But that speed profile for a 40-tonner is kind of rough. So I'm fairly certain that this is a pretty basic mech. It gets the job done. Okay, next up. The SNT-04 Sentry. This is an interesting mech because it's built for, like, militias to use. And militias, you know, be fighting a lot of infantry and, like, civilians, maybe, like, rebelling or something like that. This thing freaking murders infantry, like, better than any mech but a Piranha and Firestarter, potentially. This thing is just designed to kill infantry, which is brutal. It's a 40-tonner with a 5.85 profile, so better than the Initiate. And got a very healthy amount of armor, too. Again, I think this one is a whopping point off of maximum armor, so good protection for a 40-tonner. 10 double heat sinks, so that's also pretty good. I mean, almost doesn't need those because those heat sinks with all of the weapons, it's pretty much going to be constantly heat efficient. This thing is just running cool all the time, which is really awesome. I mean, I love that. So what are the weapons? Well, it's got a PPC. A basic original PPC. And you know what? I like that. That's a good, solid, ranged weapon. That's good. The fun thing is, it really doesn't that PPC doesn't work at the range of all of its other guns. Because every other gun it carries fires at 3 hexes or less. And that is 2 small pulse lasers, which are anti-infantry, 4 machine guns, more anti-infantry, and a flamer, more anti-infantry. It has case also, which is good. So its standard engine won't get wiped out if the machine gun ammo goes up. Yes, this thing's a standard engine also. So it's durable. And this is a 40-tonner that I really like. It kind of duels at range with the PPC, and it closes in and just just hurts you with like small arms fire, or it picks up infantry on the battlefield and just eliminates them. If your opponent is running infantry in like large numbers, a couple sentries, and he's gonna be crying because those dudes are dead. Just gonna and they're all dead. Enjoy my sound effects. So I am going to take the the Sentry, and it's an awesome mech. I don't think it's all the way up to superior because it's a touch on the slow side, just a touch. But otherwise, this is a good mech. This is a good mech. Okay, next up. The BEO-12 Beowulf. This is a Comstar design based on the Mongoose, but it weighs more. It's a 45-tonner with a 6.96 movement profile with mask, letting you up to 12 for the run. It has a very healthy amount of armor. Again, this thing is like 1 point off of maximum armor, which is really, really nice. It's got 12 double heat sinks, so it can handle some heat. And in fact, the only thing that bothers this mech is when it jumps, because it's got a large pulse, 2 ER mediums, Beagle active probe, and tag. So 20 points of weapon fire for heat, and running means you're not even generating any heat at all. You're cooling 2 points. So only when you jump do you even slightly increase in heat. So this is a really solid scout mech. I mean, it's got got a good speed of 6'9", 6'12" for scouting. Durable as all heck. I mean, this thing's got as much armor at 45 tons as most 30-25 era Shadowhawks, Griffins, and Wolverines carry. So, durable, tough. It has an XL engine, though. That is where it's a little bit of a weakness in it. But nothing that explodes. You actually have to take out the torsos to take this thing down. But it's fast enough. And it's got those scanning profiles. It's got the ability to tag for Arrow 4 and indirect semi-guided LRMs. Its weapons we all fire about the same brackets, because the large pulse gets up to 10, the ER mediums get up to 12, so it's got kind of the same bracketing. Pretty good effect right there. Yeah, this is a good mech, and you know what? No, this is our first superior mech. I think the Beowulf is a solid design all the way around. Nothing explodes, it can fire all day long, it's got good speed, it's got maximal armor nearly. This thing checks the boxes, and if you're looking for a scout for your Comstar forces, look here. This sucker is your scout. This is a good mech. Next up we have the BSN 3K Bishamon. This is not a pretty design. I mean, image-wise, it's an ugly spider. By the way, I like the way the Beowulf looks. That one's one of the better looking mechs in the book. I like the way it looks. The Bishamon is a Cretan design that is got one of the new weapon systems that comes out in 3060. The MRM launcher, the medium range missile launcher, which is a good range bracket, essentially equivalent to a large laser. But sadly has a +1 to hit, so they're harder to hit. But they come in sizes 10, 20, 30, 40. So they can get a big boatload of missiles coming at you with one of those MRM launchers. They're dumbfire missiles, which is why they have the +1 to hit they're hard to hit with. But they're really awesome because you can get big volume. And they're kind of like, they're almost like an LRM 15 weighs 7 tons and MRM 20 weighs 7 tons. So you get like 33% more missiles with the hard hit category. And no minimums. MRMs have no minimums. So, positive on those. So what's this thing got? It's a 45 tonner with a 711 profile, no jumpy, and 10 double heat sinks. The 10 doubles makes an issue, but it's not so bad because when you're firing the ER mediums, and it has 2 ER mediums, 2 medium pulses, and an MRM 20. So when you're firing the ER mediums and the MRMs, you're not going to be generating any real heat. If you get to too close a range, you switch from the ER mediums to the medium pulses. And, you know, and every now and then you can take the excess heat by firing everything at once. You're going to handle it. This thing has 168 points of armor also. That's important. This thing is, again, it's 1 point under maximum armor. But because it's a quad and it's got 4 legs, that means it has more armor than usual because every limb has got the maximum armor on it. So this thing is hard as heck to take out. Again, an XL engine, so it's a bit vulnerable right there. Still, not bad overall. I mean, there is a version of this that gets a C3 master computer, which is crazy for like a Scout Lance to have that kind of C3 master in a 45 tonner that moves 711. I like that. I'm trying to remember right now if there's a slave variant or not. I kind of hope there is, but I'm not 100% certain off the top of my head. I'm not going to dig into my record sheets at the moment. But, it's not bad. I mean, this is honestly a pretty darn good mech. I'm going to say this is the Bishamon is actually an awesome mech. It's not better than that, because the heat, it's got a little bit of heat issues. But aside from that, and the fact that it has a C3 master variant, is a pretty darn good mech. And I do like my MRMs. I've always liked my MRMs, because they pair up really well with things like Rack 5s, large lasers, and plasma rifles. No plasma rifles in this book, but we'll get to them in the future, and boy do I love plasma rifles. Next up, the CBR-02 Cobra. I don't have a lot negative to say about this mech, and I have a lot positive to say about this mech. What this mech is funny is, though, this is an Inner Sphere design that competes with, in the same battlefield role, as a clan Omni-mech. And in some ways, this Inner Sphere design is better. Yeah. The crossbow, the clan Omni-mech, that is just a pile of garbage that has 0 points of advanced tech, is in the same combat category as this Cobra, which weighs 20 tons less. The Cobra's biggest downfall is its lack of armor, but your primary weapons are 2 LRM-15 launchers, so you're not getting close. And it has 4 tons of ammo to back them up, which means each launcher can fire for 16 rounds. That's more than you need for most games. That's pretty solid. It has 2 medium lasers as a backup to help defend itself. And the funny thing is, it can pretty much fire those all day long because it has 10 double heat sinks. It only has a 5'8" movement profile, but this is a long-range mech, so you're going to be pairing it up with things like archers or other long-range support mechs, longbows and stuff like that. So you don't need to have it get out there at a high speed. It pairs up with slower other long-range mechs for nice barrage downfield. This is pretty darn good. I mean, the armor is a little bit of a concern for it, though, because if it does get engaged, it can be destroyed very fast. And hilariously, in my book, the armor values are terribly misprinted. Yeah, the armor values, if I add them up in my head really fast, right here are about half of what it should have via the tonnage and via the numbers. So there's a terrible misprinting in my copy of the book. It says it only has 3 points of armor on the legs. Yeah. Still, overall, for a 45-tonner, this thing does have one big downside. It's very rare to see a mech in this era that doesn't have case protecting the ammo. And this thing does not have case. Honestly, it could have dropped 1 ton of ammo to up the armor by half a ton and stick case in that torso, and it would probably have been just as good as it is right now. So not having case is a little bit of an issue because that one torso is carrying, with nothing else in it, 4 tons of ammo. Because it doesn't have XL engine. So 4 tons of ammo in one torso. If that torso gets breached and there's a critical hit there, you've lost the mech. It's just gone. Unless you're lucky and they hit an empty ammo bin. But still, that is the biggest downside of this mech. And I honestly think that in many ways the lack of case and the low armor is what puts this thing in the basic category. Which, by the way, is still better than the crossbow from the clans. So, go figure. Inner Sphere doing better than the clans. Well, that's just weird. Next up, the BTZ-3F Blitzkrieg. This is a mech that does one thing, and it does it very well. And that one thing is to make your opponent crap their own pants when an AC-20 Ultra is dropped behind whatever they didn't want you to drop it behind. This mech is a 7'11" 50-tonner, very fast. It is lightly armored. It has the same armor value as the Cobra beforehand, only 6.5 tons of ferrofibrous armor. That means most locations are protected, but it's light on the armor. It is light on the armor. But it carries an Ultra AC-20 with 4 tons of ammo, so 20 shots. 10 rounds of double tapping monstrosity with 10 double heat sinks, so it doesn't overheat. If you're playing with mech quirks, this thing gets even more disturbing as that gun is essentially on a turret. In addition to that, though, it does have a downside to the quirks, which is no limited arms. If this thing does fall down, you're not getting up again very easily. That's a big problem with this mech. But I'm not ranking these things using quirks. I wish I was in some ways, but I'm not. But this mech is bloody hilarious. You get up behind some assault mech, and you go, bop, bop. You roll that 8 or better on the cluster chart, and that sucker takes 40 points to the rear. Oh, can be a bad day for anyone. And with a 7'11" speed, this thing gets into things' faces. It's really weird for me to do this for a single weapon mech, but this is a superior mech. Even the low armor. It is such a terror on the battlefield. I've seen people throw entire lances to take these things off the battlefield before it can get to the scary, scary range. Next up, the ENF-6M Enforcer III. This is one of, I think there are 2 designs in this book that I look at and go, this really didn't need to be a separate design to take up a page in this book. All the Enforcer III is an Enforcer. It has an ER large laser, like the Enforcers do. It has an Ultra AC-10. That's just an AC-10. Most Enforcers carry an AC-10 or an LB-10 or something like that. So this thing just has an Ultra 10. And it has an ER small laser. Okay, Enforcers carry small lasers. It's got a 5.85 movement profile. Okay, that's what advanced, that's what normal tech Enforcers have. Most of them move at 5.85 with an XL engine. It's got the, this is just an Enforcer. This does not deserve a separate mech profile in this book. This is just an Enforcer. My assumption is either they had artwork for the Enforcer that didn't look the same, so they needed to use it or whatever, or I don't know. This does not deserve a separate page. And because it's just an Enforcer, and it's no different, it's a basic mech, because the Enforcer's a basic mech, so it's just basic. Which is exactly where I ranked the 30-50 era Enforcer, was basic, or banal, or whatever I called the B category in that one. This mech is, it didn't deserve a separate entry. It didn't. It makes no sense. Or maybe they just need to fill out the pages. I don't know. It's not deserving of a separate entry. Next up, the BCN 3R Buccaneer. We have a hatchet mech. This is another Word of Blake mech. / Free Rolls League, but Word of Blake mostly. It's a 6'9", 55 tonner with 179 points or 10 tons of ferrofibrous armor. So this thing is, once again, it's like just a half a ton or whatever off of maximum armor. But what does the thing carry for weapons then? Well, it's only got 10 double heat sinks. Let's start there. So it can 20 points of dissipation of heat. It has a hatchet. Yay. It has an SRM-6 with Artemis 4. Okay, that's good. It's got an ER large laser. Okay, we got some heat generation right there. But don't worry, you only have to use the ER large laser when you're kind of like dueling at range. Because aside from that, it's got 4 medium lasers and a medium pulse laser. Okay, this thing does run a little bit on the hot side. But a lot of these weapons are in the torsos. It's got the medium pulse laser in the left torso. It's got a medium laser in the head and the right torso, and 2 of them in the center torso. So essentially, even losing arms on this thing, it's still a big gun. In fact, the only thing this thing's arms are an ER large laser and a hatchet. This mech has got good speed, very good armor, and is lethal. And if it gets close in, which is where it wants to be with that hatchet, it's really lethal. That ER large laser is only used when you're dueling at range. This is a really, really good mech. I mean, I love this mech. And I love hatchet mechs. And I enjoy playing the Word of Blake because I love being the villain. So, yeah, this is a superior mech. It checks all the boxes for me. I wish and hope and really, really hope it comes up in the Kickstarter that they're doing this fall. Because, oh, I do want this mech in plastic. I'd like have half a level 2 of it. Maybe a full level 2 of it. I don't know. Next up, the MHL X1 Marshal. Well, I love the name of this mech because I just recently finished beating a Horizon Forbidden West, and I really, really wanted to be a Marshal for the Tanakh, but I couldn't. It wasn't in the plot. Anyways, this mech is a 4.64 55 tonner. Again, with 179 points or 10 tons of ferrofibrous armor, which is good. Well protected. This is a mech designed for periphery nations. And so it doesn't have a humongous amount of advanced tech, which is just fine. It doesn't even have endosteel. It just has ferrofibrous armor and pulse weaponry for the most part. It's kind of slow at 4.64, but that's fine. It's okay. It's got a large laser. I like large lasers. Honestly, I like them more than ER large lasers because I don't like to spend the 50% of heat for the slightly increased range. I just prefer the large laser. I like the medium pulse laser. I'm not a big fan of that. I wish they just stuck in 2 basic mediums. I think they'd have been better for this mech. The problem is, it doesn't have double heat sinks. It's got 18 singles. And that is where this mech is kind of kneecapped. Because it's a periphery mech, so they still haven't fully gotten all the advanced tech, I guess. It's got a large laser, medium pulse laser, medium laser, 2 machine guns, flamer, and an LRM-5. It's honestly not super heat inefficient, even with those 18 heat sinks, because you're not going to be using all these weapons at all ranges. It's kind of got a variable switch on and off. It only has, thankfully, half a ton of machine gun ammo, but sadly, it doesn't have case. No case is an issue for the mech because it does carry 2 ammo-based weapons. And the ammo's in opposite torsos, so you have doubly the chance of going up in a ball of flame. In many ways, I kind of like this mech a lot, but it really is just a very basic mech. It's there to get the job done and be a defensive mech, or be a mech for the periphery, and it's gonna do that. So, what else do I have to say about it? It's gonna get the job done. It's basic, but that's what it needs to do. The LRM-5 is a little bit of a weird thing on it, because that's the only weapon that's got truly a long range on it. The large laser's fine for there too, but it seems a bit weird to it. And I actually like the artwork for this one too pretty well. It's kind of bulky, it's sturdy looking. None of the guns are insanely oversized. It's got a good looking cockpit area. I like the machine gun on the one torso. They got a nice little ball mount. That's artwork I like. Next up, the MS-1-0 Menshin. I tend to think of this thing as like the handheld Hoover vacuum cleaner of battle mechs. So this is Capellan Omni-Mech. I think it's our first Capellan Omni-Mech. And it's got a 6.9.0 movement profile with a mask to get up to 12. It's got a little bit less armor even than it's got less armor than the Buccaneer and the Marshal, because it doesn't have ferrofibrous. So it's got 176 points, which is still pretty darn good. It's a bit lower than the other ones, but it's fine. It does have Inner Steel, which is a big advantage. And it's got some good loadouts and some meh loadouts. The primary loadout, it carries 4 medium pulse lasers and an LRM-15 with Artemis 4. Problem is the LRM-15 only has 1 ton of ammo, so it's limited use. 10 built-in double heat sinks, this thing doesn't overheat even when it runs, unless it fires all 5 of its guns. So the primary variant is pretty good. The alternate config A is 3 ER mediums and an LB-10. Thankfully, the LB-10 in this one has 2 tons of ammo, so you can carry cluster and solid. And a tag, it's not going to overheat either. Pretty good loadout. Alt config B makes me sad, because it's got 4 ER medium lasers. Those are good, but doesn't have the heat to handle them and move. And then as an insult, it decided to waste 13 tons on 2 LB-2X ACs. It's only got 1 ton of ammo, so you have to pick if you're carrying solid or cluster into the battle. And if you're carrying cluster, that means more than half the time each of those guns is going to do a 1-point plink. LB-2Xs are still bad. AC-2s are bad. LB-2s are slightly less bad, but are still bad. So alt config B is bad? Yeah, it's bad. Because I mean, if they'd taken anything else, they could at least give them the heat sinks to handle those ER mediums. But no. Alt config C has an ER small, 2 large pulses, Guardian ECM, and an extra double heat sink. The extra double heat sink's nice, so you can fire both large pulses and run and still not generate any heat. The Guardian ECM makes that variant actually really good, though. Alt config D carries 2 SRM-4 racks, 2 medium pulse lasers, and an ER PPC. This reminds me a lot of the Arctic Fox from earlier, which essentially was SRM-4s and mediums. This is just SRM-4s and medium pulses and an ER PPC. So you either fire one or the other kind of thing again. Yeah, I like that variant on the Arctic Fox. I like it on this variant. The funny thing is the Arctic Fox weighs 20 tons less for the same loadout. Because, remember, the Arctic Fox, go back in your memory, had 14 tons of pod space and mech that weighed 30 tons. So the Menshin weighs 25 tons more than it, and only has 17 tons of pod space. They have the same movement profile. Yeah. Menshin's kind of went down in my mind just a little bit right there. That's the Shen. The Shen has very little pod space for its mech size, comparatively. It carries roughly, it doesn't even carry 40% pod space, whereas the other mech carry 50% nearly of pod space. Now, the Shen does do some good work with the pod space, thankfully, because if it didn't, it'd be terrible. And it does have better armor, of course. I'm going to rate the Shen as the same place I put the Arctic Fox. It's going to be in basic mech. I was originally thinking it might be better than that, but after reviewing it in my brain right there, immediately on camera, as you saw, I have reevaluated it. I still like it because it's still a compelling design. So, next up, the HEL 3D Helios, the first mech in all 3 dimensions. Whee! Just kidding. Okay, this is another Capellan mech, and it's a 60-tonner. It's a 464 without an XL engine, so got some durability there. 10 double heat sinks. Problem is, it's got low armor. It's only got 144 points of armor, which is less than like the last 3 mechs we were talking about that all weighed less than it. So it's a little bit light in the armor. But it's got relatively good weapons loadout. It's got a Gauss rifle with 2 tons of ammo. It's got paired SRM6s that are only feeding off of 1 ton of ammo. That's an issue. And it's got 2 ER medium lasers. The Gauss rifle makes me want to like the mech because I like Gauss rifles. But if you actually think about this mech, it's heat efficient, but it's slow, and it's low armor for its weight class. Doesn't feel like a heavy on the battlefield. It feels like a up-jumped slow medium. It's not crap, but it's almost crap. It's a very basic mech again. Wow, like I said, my feeling about 3060 is it's a lot of this gets the job done, but we're not great at it. I'm almost tempted to rank it down low because of that low ammo for the SRM6 launchers. But I'm not going to. Next up, we're going to switch gears from basic to amazing. Actually, I can give you a preview on this one. This is a superior mech, and I haven't even told you the name of it yet. The name of it is the TSG-9H Ts'ang. This is another Capellan mech. We're going Capella right now. This mech is amazing, superior, fantastic, awesome, superfluous, ephemeral. Words that don't sound like right for it. Okay. This is a 60-tonner that moves 696. It has 13 double heat sinks. It has 200 points of armor. So, we're looking at nearly maximum armor again. Not quite. Just a few points under. I mean, like, very few points. I think a point under maximum. It carries a hatchet. It carries a boatload of ER medium lasers. It carries 5 ER mediums, 4 ER smalls, and tag. What's important is I didn't mention there's a second number next to all of the movement profile on the walk run. It's a 6.9 or a 7.11 because this mech mounts triple strength Myanmar with a hatchet at speeds of very fast. 7.11 being very fast. 6.9 also being fast. This mech is amazing. The hatchet damage on this thing can turn games instantly nearly. The laser things, the laser light show it puts on every turn to balance itself at 9 points of heat is fantastic. This mech is one of my favorite in the entire game. This mech is, as I said, is a superior mech. Capella getting the badasses. Yeah, Capella really kind of wins this book in some ways, in my opinion, just because of that mech right there. Anyways, next up, the YMN 6Y Ywoman, aka, oh god, this mech is ugly. I mean, we've seen apartment complexes on legs. The Warhawk is an apartment complex on legs. The Direwolf is a covered apartment complex on legs. This is ugly, and also the missiles don't make any sense. I mean, Each of those missiles is the size of a freaking Tomahawk cruise missile, but it's just an LRM 15 plus an LRM 10. I mean, those missile tube holes are freaking ginormous. And also, I love the targeting reticle on the cockpit that says, "Shoot me, I'm right behind this." Anyways, it's a 60-ton mech. It's got 10 double heat sinks. It's got no XL engine. It's got the same amount of armor as a Shadowhawk from 3025, so 152 points of armor. It mounts 2 LRM-15s and 2 LRM-10s. It does, thankfully, have case in both torsos. It carries a boatload of ammunition at 32 rounds for the 15 rack and 24 rounds for the 10 racks, so it can fire all darn day. I mean, it's really comparable to a heavier archer without any defensive systems, like medium lasers or whatever to back it up. It also has no arms, so if you knock this thing down, it has trouble standing up if you're using the quirk. But it is a good long-range support mech. It's basic again. I mean, like, we're not escaping the basic trap. This mech is just basic. The weird thing is, everything's stored in the torsos, and I'm guessing it has no arm actuator, and it's just, like... Which means you can't even arm flip this thing. Ah! Anyways, it's basic. And we come to the second mech that doesn't belong in the book because it's just a variant of a mech that already exists. Although, in this case, this one is a significant improvement upon the basic variant. This is the JM6D3 Jagermech III. It's a 65-tonner with 170 points of armor, so it's a little bit light in the armor. Well, more than a little bit light in the armor. It's definitely light in the armor. It's got 12 double heat sinks, which are actually pretty good, letting us cool 24 points. It's a 5.80, which means it's not too bad for speed. Like most Jaegers, though, I've already said it's low on armor. It's not hideously low on armor, like a lot of Jaegers are, but it's low on armor. Its weapons loadout is not insulting, but not great. I mean, it's got double PPC. That's good. Double medium lasers. Those are fine. You can't handle all the heat from those weapons. Then it's got 2 Ultra AC2s. Why? I mean, they match up with the PPCs to fire out there at long range. I can understand that. That's just fine. I'm just not a huge fan. The thing, here is an example. An Ultra AC2 weighs 7 tons. A PPC weighs 7 tons. The Ultra AC2 fires further. The PPC does 5 times as much damage on average. Yes, the Ultra AC2 only does 1 point of heat per shot, so what this mech is actually designed to do is stand still, fire both PPCs and both Ultra 2s on rapid fire downfield all day long. It's honestly not bad. It's just not great, and it's just one of those dichotomies of the fact that the PPC, even though it does require a lot of heat sinks to handle it, is a much better weapon than an Ultra AC2 for the same tonnage. Because remember, the Ultra AC2 also has to have a ton of ammo. Another downside to this mech off the top of my head is the fact that it lacks case. No case is a problem for ammo-based mechs, especially in this era. This is the era where everything should be spending a half a ton on case in general, if it carries ammo. That's just a half a ton you have to accept. It's got 45 rounds of ammo, which means it only has 1 ton of Ultra AC2 ammo, which is fine. That's essentially 10 rounds of firing with a bonus round. It's 11 rounds of fire. That's fine. That's almost a full game. A couple turns, you don't feel like it. Let's say you need to move. You can actually drop it down the Ultra AC2s to single fire and run about. Again, this is a very basic mech. There's nothing about this mech that screams, yay! It's a sniper. It's a good sniper, don't get me wrong, but it's it's under-armored like all Jaegers are. It feels undergunned at the same time because of the mounting of the Ultra AC2s. So it's just basic. But this is not, remember, basic isn't bad. Basic is utilitarian. It gets the job done. So don't think just because I'm rating something as basic, I'm saying it's a bad mech. That's what the crap category is for. We've only had 1 bad mech in this book so far. And that's that horrible mech that's sitting in that category. Next up, another Capellan winner, the JN-G8A Jinggau. This is a 65 tonner as well. Moves 585. Little bit light in the armor, but not super light. Not as light as the Jagermech. It's got 184 points of armor, and it's got some nice weapons. It's got 4 ER medium lasers, 1 medium pulse laser, and 1 UDI Gauss rifle. With 13 double heat sinks, this thing can fire everything all day long. It can jump and fire its long-range weapons, which are the ER mediums and the Gauss rifle, all day long. The medium pulse laser is just for self-defense. Yeah, it's darn good. I'm not going to say this one is superior, but the Jinggau is an awesome design. It is deserving of that. It's very good. Good range, good mobility, acceptable armor, and good combo, and good one kind of weapon. Kind of good range weaponry right there. The ER medium lasers could be longer range. I mean, they're not not clan distances, but they're darn good. So. Next up, the BGS-1T Barghest. The Barghest is a quad. It's a Steiner quad. It's a Lyran Alliance quad. And it is a 5.8 speed profile mech with a 350XL engine, so got the XL in there. 208 points of armor. The funny thing is, the legs are not all the same. The rear legs have less armor than the front legs. Interesting. The real insult with this mech, though, is the fact that it can't even fire all of its primary guns, which only has 3 guns, without overheating by a lot. It's got 2 ER large lasers and an LB-20X autocannon. It has 4 tons of reloads for the LBX-20, thankfully, so you can carry 2 tons of solid, 2 tons of cluster, but it only has 10 double heat sinks. Those 10 double heat sinks means it can fire both ER large lasers without overheating by 4 points. 6 points if you ran. That's not good. One of those ER large lasers should have been ripped out of the thing, had a pair of mediums tossed in, and some more double heat sinks. Because with a 350XL engine, this thing can carry plenty of heat sinks inside the engine that won't be filling up the limited space of a quad mech. So by slapping 2 ER larges on it, they just literally have created a crap mech. And I hate to say it, this mech is kind of crap. This thing could have been fixed in such an easy way. I mean, the other variant is a far better variant. The other variant carries an Ultra 20 with an ER PPC. It only adds 1 additional double heat sink, sadly, but that does help. I mean, at that point in time, though, if you're double tapping with the Ultra 20, that's 14 points of heat, plus 15 more points of heat on top from the ER PPC. You're looking at 29, 31 points of heat. You only do cooling off 22. You're still screwed for heat on that one. It would have been served much better if it had taken a basic heat sink, or the basic heat, if it had taken basic PPC and the Ultra 20. Or again, why not something that pairs the Ultra 20's range, like some ER medium lasers? This is an example of a mech that says big guns get tired. I don't know, I can't help it, I can't like the Barghest. Every design feels like a failure on delivery. So I'm going to call it crap. And I like quads. I'm just saddened by that quad. Next up, the SJA-70 Shugenja, the Magic Man. Switch between from a mech I really don't like to a mech I really like. The Shugenja has, let's start with the correction this mech does. This mech has 15 double heat sinks. It's a 4.6 75 tonner, so that's pretty much the average speed for a 75 tonner, unless you're clan. It's got 231 points of armor, so pretty defensive. I mean, like, maximum defensive. I think this thing actually wastes armor that it can't spend the points for. What is it mounted with for weapons? Well, it's got an ER PPC. I mean, that's half our heat generation already. It's got an MRM 30. Okay, that's a big MRM launcher. And 2 large lasers. Okay, so most of the time this thing is firing 2 large lasers and an MRM 30. The ER PPC is just for, like, gauging things further away, or if perhaps you've lost your large laser arm. So weaponry's fine. But what does this thing really have that makes it a monster on the battlefield? C3 computer. It's got a C3 master computer in this sucker. For a mech with good ranges, so it can use its little like C3 like scouts up there to give it those wonderful like 5 hex range, what it really wants. And then it just pummels you with an MRM-30 and 2 large lasers. Yeah, good mech. I mean, the only thing that's keeping this thing back from being a superior design is the heat inefficiency. And that's just barely pulling it down. Just barely pulling it down. I want to put this thing as superior, but I realize it's not, because it has to lay off 25% of its guns to be heat efficient. And when it fires all those weapons and it's not being heat efficient, it goes up a lot of heat. It goes up a lot of heat. So, still awesome. And it's one of those designs that the drawing is pretty darn good on. I like it. I mean, it's got some weirdness to it, but overall it's a pretty darn good design. Next up, the TYM-1A Toyama. It's another Word of Blake mech. And I like this mech a lot. It has some significant heat issues, though, which is always a problem for me. I don't like mechs overheat. But still, let's look at this mech. It's got a 4-6 movement profile, so the exact same as the Shugenja. 14 double heat sinks instead of 15, so a little bit less cooling efficiency. And the armor is a bit lighter in this thing. Actually, quite a bit lighter. It's nowhere near maximum armor on this sucker. It's not super light like a Jagermech light, but it's light armor. I mean, the arms could mount. The arms are 4 points shy. The legs are 7 points shy of maximum armor on each of these things, so you can see a couple tons of armor have been shaved off this thing. Weaponry-wise, what does it mount? 2 Euro large lasers. Okay, that's an issue already. They run very hot. And an LRM-20. Okay. We're using up almost all of our heat in those 3 weapons. And an LB-10X. Okay, we overheat now when we fire all 4 of our long-range guns. We tend to generate more heat than we can handle. Thankfully, it's only got 3 more weapons. Those are 3 medium lasers, basic medium lasers, that kind of serve as a point-blank Guardian set of weapons. Then it also has a Guardian ECM, which is sweet. I mean, it's a Word of Blake mech. It is just wonderful. It pairs really well with the Buccaneer. They make a good pair in this book, because the Buccaneer is more of a point blanker. This is more of a long range fighter, so they work really well in teams. This is not superior because of the heat issues. Again, just like the Shugenja, just not right there. But I think this is a pretty awesome mech in general. Also, this might be the best artwork in the entire book on this sucker. The Toyama has probably the best artwork. It's such a cool looking mech. I mean, that looks really, really cool. Next up, we have the BKW-7R Black Watch. We literally went from 75-ton mech to an 85-ton mech. There's no 80-tonner in this book. The Black Watch was built for the Northwind Highlanders, which is really kind of funny because we're not going to be getting the Black Watch in the Northwind Highlanders box when it comes out from Catalyst. This is the mech that should have been in there. This is their mech. They make this mech. They build this mech. I like the way a lot of it looks, except for the golf ball head. It's got a kilt. It's got a split-on. It's got like a bagpipe design to it. I mean, come on. What's not like to love about this mech? It almost looks like he's wearing a little suit and tie as well. Oh, but it's very weird. It's a very strange mech. It's a 3.53 85-tonner, so it's slow. No XL engine. That's important. No XL engine. It's only got 10 double heat sinks. But that's kind of okay because what does it mount for weaponry? Well, downside, every gun on this thing is ammo dependent. It mounts a light Gauss rifle. I would have tried to find room for a real Gauss rifle, not a light Gauss rifle, because for 3 tons, you lose half the damage. Save 3 tons, half damage. It's got an Ultra AC-10. Okay, that's a good weapon. That's a good weapon. It has an MRM-40. Okay, that's a scary weapon. See, right there, I'd actually gone with an MRM-30 and a real Gauss rifle. It's an exchange of like 10 damage potential for 7 damage, but I think that's a good exchange. Maybe it's just me. It also has a C3 slave. Thankfully, this thing has case as well. It's a little tiny touch light on armor, but not too bad. Its biggest problem is that the 353 movement profile, it keeps it a bit slow. It's not terribly bad at all. It's not terribly great. It's kind of just basic again. Sad. I really, though, had wished this mech was be coming out in the Northern Highlanders box when we get it. It's too bad. Next up, the TSH-7S Tai-sho. The Tai-sho is an Ether 85 tonner. It moves 350, so like the Black Watch. It has no XL engine, so just a normal standard engine. 13 double heat sinks, that's acceptable. Solid on the armor. This thing is pretty much max armor on again, which is really nice. In fact, once again, we have a mech with max armor, so I'm afraid it may have wasted a few points of armor that it couldn't spend. What does it mount for weapons? Well, it mounts 2 ER PPCs. Okay, we've already got a problem. 26 points of heat dissipation and 30 points of heat off the 2 primary guns. That means whatever gun I'm going to say next just generates more heat than it can handle, which is an Ultra AC-10. Okay, I like Ultra 10s. I really do. They're a sweet spot weapon. They got good range and good damage. So I like Ultra 10s. It's got 2 tons of ammo, so 20 shots. That's almost enough, but not quite enough. And it has case. Okay. This is a company command mech, by the way. It has 2 C3 master computers. Yeah, that's where it comes in sweet. It's got 2 C3 master computers, so it has full company command of a C3 company. That's awesome. Sadly, the double ER PPCs with 13 double heat sinks means it's not awesome. It's not superior. It's still an awesome mech, but those ER PPCs hurt me. If it had been 2 basic PPCs, yeah, I'd go for that much better. Still, the fact that it's a company command mech, a true company command mech, makes it awesome. Next up, the VKG-2F Viking. We don't usually talk about mechs that come out of the Free Rasselhag Republic, although the Beowulf, I think, also comes out of it because it's a Comstar Free Rasselhag. Still, we don't really talk about mechs that come out of the Free Rasselhag Republic, but this one does. Now, at this point in time, the Free Rasselhag Republic is reduced to a very small number of planets because Ghost Bear and Wolf more or less consumed all of their territory, most of it going to Ghost Bear. But this mech is amazing. I'm just saying right now, it's a pretty amazing mech. Its biggest problem is, once again, heat inefficiency. This thing is a 90 tonner that moves 3.5, no XL engine. 10 double heat sinks. 248 points of armor, so it's a little bit light in the armor. Not too bad, but a little bit light. About 8 points shy in the legs, maximum in the arms. So, it's got a few... It's just a smidgen under the armor. But it mounts 2 LRM-20 racks with Artemis 4, 2 LRM-15 racks with Artemis 4, 2 small lasers, and 4 machine guns. The machine guns are hilariously mounted in the legs. Essentially, it's a long-range support mech with some close-range defensive weapons. But that's fine. It also carries plenty of ammo. But the thing about this mech that makes it really cool is it just looks awesome. It just looks really awesome. So, this is not a superior mech again, but I think it qualifies as an awesome mech. Also, it's just really nice to see Free Rasselhag Republic getting some mechs. One of the nicer drawings in the book, too, again. I like it a lot.
A few moments later.
But still, those apertures on the Tai-sho are nothing compared to the size of the apertures of the guns on the YuHuang. The YH9G YuHuang. This mech is a 4.64 90 tonner with 13 double heat sinks. 272 points of armor, giving it not quite maximum, but it's like a point off of every limb and stuff like that. So we're really close to maximum armor on it. It mounts an LB-20X autocannon in the right arm side, an ER-PPC on the left arm, 2 medium lasers and a medium pulse laser also on the left arm. Now, the funny thing is, look at that left arm. That left arm's got an ER-PPC, which has got the ability to fire essentially an entire tree. Note the tree in the picture. An entire tree out of it. The medium pulse laser could fire freaking basketballs, and the medium lasers are actually almost accurately sized. I mean, like, reasonably sized. They're not insanely huge. Meanwhile, the LB-20X arm would be pixing Volkswagen Siroccos down the field. Why? Oh, and then it has an LRM-10 rack on the back right there. The technically that's the the center torso, but it's the center torso back. Just thrown in for funsies. It's weird. It's got good movement profile. It's got generally good weapons. It's nearly maximum armor, but it's not quite. It's an awesome mech. It's just the drawing is just funky. I mean, once again, guns that are way too big. Still, now the YuHuang is an awesome mech. Next up, the HA-1-0 Hauptmann, aka Smoking Kitty. I can't look at this now. I cannot see a smoking kitty. It's really sad because I love the mech's loadouts in general. It's just a really good mech, but I don't like the artwork for it too much. The smoking kitty is just weird, and other than that, it's just really blocky. So I'm just silly. Okay, let's break this thing down. It's a 95 tonner. It moves 350. That's fine for a 95 tonner. It doesn't have an XL engine though, so it's durable. 293 points of armor puts it to pretty much maximum armor. Again, we probably wasted some tonnage in armor. If it probably pulled a half a ton out, it probably could have fit a few points. We're talking maximum armor, maximum armor. And let's look at the loadouts. This is an Omni-Mech. So we got multiple loadouts. Primary loadout contains an ER small laser, that's the cigarette the sucker's smoking. ER large laser, medium pulse, 2 additional double heat sinks. Oh, it has 11 double heat sinks built in normally. This has 2 more double heat sinks. LB-20X auto cannon, that's the giant tube on the shoulder. A Guardian ECM suite. 2 Streak SRM2s. Okay, fine. 2 more double heat sinks, another ER large, another medium pulse, and 2 more double heat sinks. Primary version, pretty darn good. Lots of heat sinks to combat all those high hot running weapons. And a big gun to combine with some lasers. That's not bad. But it's not my favorite variant. Alt Config A mounts 2 ER mediums, SRM6 with Artemis 4, bunch of double heat sinks, a Gauss rifle, 2 more ER mediums, and another SRM6 with Artemis 4. The A variant can also jump. That's a big important thing. It's a lot of double heat sinks to help cover the heat on that variant, so it's really kind of like heat efficient. And it has a Gauss rifle and the shoulder cannon. It's pretty good. Pretty good. Alt Config B, it's got a medium pulse, ER PPC, another medium pulse laser, bunch of double heat sinks, and another ER PPC. So even with all those extra heat sinks, it's still running a bit hot. And then the piece de resistance, that big shoulder cannon, is an Ultra AC-20 with 15 rounds of ammo. A little bit light in the ammo. Ultra 20 is really nice, but on a 3.5 mech, it's a little bit slow to get into there. It's not bad. I personally think I prefer the primary configuration above all the others because of its range bracketing and the fact that the LB-20 is at longer range, and the Guardian ECM is a really nice solid thing on there. The Alt Config A is pretty good too because of the ranges of the ER mediums. The Gauss rifle is pretty good. The SRM6 is a bit smaller range, which isn't terrible, but yeah, overall. It's not a bad mech. I mean, I know there are some variants of this later on that are really, really sweet, but the ones in this book are not as sweet as the later variants, or the later alt configurations. Still, I like this mech pretty well. I'm going to call it an awesome mech, but not better than that. Last but not least, by a long shot, is the SRC-3C Sirocco. It's our 3rd quad of the book. Well, that's just weird. Oh, I like it. This is another 95 tonner. We have no 100-ton mechs in this book either. At least not for the Inner Sphere. Very interesting. It's a 3.5, 95 tonner, with 309 points of armor. This thing is beefy, beefy. It is maximum armor again. Once again, makes me think we probably wasted a few points of armor. Still, we're talking each leg taking 2 AC 20 shots before you even open the armor up. Beefy. Beefy, beefy. 13 double heat sinks, which is a little bit light on the double heat sinks in my opinion. And it's got a weird set of weapons. Each of the forward legs mounts an ER medium laser and an anti-infantry pod, an A-pod. That's not bad, because quads can't really get rid of infantry otherwise, so the A-pods actually make them pretty good. It's got 2 ER mediums in the rear, which I'm going to be really odd right here, and I'm going to say I agree with that decision. Because you see, quads need rear-mounted weapons when they're slow. Unlike other mechs, they can't bring anything to bear behind them by torso twisting and using their arm. Quads' rear weapons I do not detract from. I think those are useful. It has rear-mounted ER mediums. It also has 2 Ultra AC-10s and an additional medium pulse laser going forward. Oh, and 2 ER mediums on the torso is good. So this thing's got a total of 4 ER mediums going forward, 2 ER mediums going backwards, a medium pulse laser going forward, and 2 Ultra 10s going forward. Like I said, it's under heat sinked. This thing has a lot of weapons that can generate a lot of heat, and it doesn't have enough heat sinks. But it's a quad, so I can understand why it doesn't have more double heat sinks. They're hard to fit in quads. So the reason why it doesn't have XL engine or Indo steel or ferrofibrous armor, because again, those are really hard to fit in quads because you lose the entire arm actuator block of 6 empty spaces off of both the left and the right arm are gone on a quad, which means you lose a lot of space to put equipment. This thing also has a Guardian ECM suite, if I haven't said, which is really awesome. Now, if you're playing with Battle Mech quirks, this thing can flip those Ultra 10s backwards. Just pretty sweet. That means this thing's pretty lethal going forward and backwards. It also looks like an AT-AT, which I'm not going to say is a bad thing at all. So, yeah, that's the Sirocco. In fact, I would put this mech, again, in the superior category if it didn't have the heat issue. But this mech can't escape the heat issue because it's such a heavily weaponed quad. And I like it. I like it for that. So, this is going to go in the awesome category. And it really is awesome. And it really only fails being superior because of an innate design flaw of being a quad, which I can't object to. I like quads. I'm glad we're seeing quads. We need to see more of those. And that is the end of all the Inner Sphere Battle Mechs from TRO 3060. All 30 Inner Sphere Battle Mechs. We didn't have a single dreadful mech, thankfully. I'm really happy to see that. Again, though, it's a very, very middle-of-the-road book. The majority of the mechs are basic. There's a lot of awesome mechs. Mostly the assault mechs become awesome. And that's because assaults can overcome their deficiencies a lot easier. Armor and guns can go a long way in this game. So, and that's what an assault mech is. Assault mechs don't have speed. They make up for it by having just the ability to take a beating. We also had 4 superior mechs, of which I like all 4 a whole lot. And all 4 of the superior mechs are very different. Well, 2 of them are different than the other 2. Because both the other 2 are hatchet-wielding monsters that move fast. So, there we go. That is Technical Readout 3060, the Inner Sphere Mechs being ranked. Here's your rankings. If you've enjoyed this video, please do the YouTube things, hit like, subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment below. Everything helps me out, helps me get more views, helps me build the channel. So SleeplessRonin is saying, sayonara, and we'll catch you next time.